everyone. Welcome back to Backstage Pass, a CPCA podcast. That's right. This is a podcast right here at Temple University. I am so excited today because we have a great guest that I've been actually really looking forward to interviewing this person for a little bit now because I've always wanted to talk about his music. So today's guest is another one of our peer advisors. He's a senior music studies major here at Temple. He loves writing his own music and is a collector of vinyls. That's something else I really want to talk about as well. We are so excited to have Zuhri Wayman on with us today. Zuhri, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, Ben?
I'm hanging in there, like always.
All right.
Got to do what I got to do, you know? Like always, I'd like to say hello to Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'm excited for today.
Yeah, today's going to be a fun interview. I can tell already. So let's just get right into it. First things first, we like to ask a lot of music majors this question of where is your favorite spot to either study or rehearse on campus?
Ooh, that's a great question. I like when I was practicing like at school, I would like to practice in a classroom if I could, just because the acoustics in there are usually like insane for no reason. Studying, I really like to study and like do homework at the old library. It's rough to find a spot to study, especially now at the new library, but the tech is also a cool place for me to study. I like using the tech a lot.
Yeah, I personally use the tech all the time. Well, I should say I used to use the tech all the time
I miss
virus.
that.
Yeah.
I know, the tech is great.
It's a little harder nowadays to get in and sit
know.
down and feel safe, but that's okay. We'll make it through, right? It is what it is. But you've been at Temple so this is your fourth year now.
Correct.
So you've taken a bunch of classes. You're almost done at this point, pretty much, right? So out of all your years here at Temple, what's been your favorite class?
What has been my favorite class? I really liked... Oh man, that's a really good question. What was my favorite class? Ooh, I liked percussion when I was a music ed major because, I mean, I did percussion in high school, so it was like pretty easy, but I learned a lot of new stuff that I didn't even think about and like different methods of like teaching percussion, you know, primarily like what the class is about. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think that's one of the classes I liked the most. I mean, I really liked all the pedagogy classes. Woodwinds was like one of the first ones I took freshman year, so that one like holds a special place in my heart. I think I really liked those instruments just because it was like my first like college music thing, you know. It felt really cool.
For sure. Do you have a favorite professor along with a favorite class?
Oh man, I mean,
Just putting the pressure on you right now.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, whoever you don't say, they're going to be watching and they're going to be upset.
I did really like Dr. Minnie, who taught me woodwinds. He's just such a like kind guy, and he was really funny, and he always kept the class like, I don't know, he's just really good energy. That guy.
Okay, sweet. I have never taken him, nor have I ever actually heard of him before, but now I feel like that's someone we got to reach out to, Sarah.
Yes, you definitely should.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe that'd be a really cool guest to have on. Ooh. All right, I'm going to keep that in my head from now on. I want to go back to the idea. You've been here for so long. We asked Mary the same question, and we're going to ask you the same question of what has been your favorite memory at Temple, and what piece of advice do you have for up-and-coming students or just students that might, you know, have a hard time breaking out of their shell?
Yeah. I had a really, really nice freshman year. I think I got really lucky with like having a really good roommate. I mean, he's like, I still live with him now. We are from like the same town, but we didn't go from the same school. So like we knew of each other, but didn't really know each other. Moved in, just sort of hit it off. And yeah, I feel like we really made the most of our freshman year, you know, just met a lot of people and just put ourselves out there. And it turned out to be like really fun and just so nice. And it made the transition to college like so much easier. Advice for people, I would love to say like, just put yourself out there and try to meet people, but that's so hard right now. So I don't even know. I mean, yeah, I would say still put yourself out there. I mean, even with like Zoom classes and stuff, if there's someone that like you feel like you're connecting to, or you just feel like you would vibe, why not just reach out to them? They're probably thinking the same thing. I think that's one of the like biggest things I've learned in college. Like, people are usually thinking the same thing as you, even if you don't think so. So why not just like go out of your way and just try it out?
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny that you say that, because I take myself back to freshman year sometimes to just think about like my experiences and be like, wow, like there was a lot of crazy things that happened, but I was glad they happened. And I think about if I were to be able to do this now as a freshman and go through online school without really having the full college experience quite yet, and to get advice like that sounds daunting, but you're so right. It is true that there are so many other people that are thinking the same thing, and if you are clicking, why not? You know, what's the worst that can happen? They could just say, "Get away from me." I mean,
exactly.
It's like it's worth a shot, and I think that's one thing a lot of freshmen haven't realized, is that it is a fresh start from high school. Because for some people, high school was either really fun, some people it was really sucky, some people it was very so-so, and I think college is really cool because it is a fresh start no matter what. So why not reach out to those people that you think you might be vibing with? So I don't think I've heard that advice yet, but I'm gonna start doing that now. I'm gonna start saying that now. I really like that advice.
I'm so glad to hear it.
You can private chat people on Zoom, so make a new friend. Exactly. I do that all the time.
You know what's funny? I actually have a class with this one kid that I started talking to because he private messaged me saying he liked the t-shirt I was wearing, because he's like, oh, I listened to that band. And I was like, oh, cool. And then we just started talking, and like now we're trying to connect at some point to jam, because we both play guitar. We both think it'd be cool to start a cool little rock band. But with everything going on, he's in Pittsburgh, I'm here, so if people are getting back on campus next year, which fingers crossed, then that would be super exciting, you know? So I totally think that advice is valid, and I am going to start using that from now on. I'm
Excellent.
Stealing it. I'll quote you. How about
Thank
that?
you.
I'll give you some sort of royalty money every time I say it.
Much appreciated.
So being on campus for so long, I'm sure you've had so many different, or I'm sure you've been to so many different places on campus. At this point, you probably know campus from front to back, if I were to guess. And with that, there's a bunch of different food trucks, restaurants, all that kind of stuff that's in the Temple area. What is your go-to spot to go get something to eat?
That's a great question. It has recently changed. Fun fact. So it used to be the halal truck outside of Tomlinson Theater.
Yes, that's the best halal truck.
That one is so good. Recently, there's a Spanish food, I think it's Mexican, outside of the Sack on Montgomery.
Okay.
It's like, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, dude, that place, it's like a little more expensive than halal, but like it's fine. I don't mind paying for it. It's so good.
Ooh,
oh my gosh.
Now I might have to make a trek out and get some of this food. Wait, do you know what it's called?
I do not know what it's called. I feel like a bad fan.
Nobody knows. All of my friends talk about it. They're like, oh, the Mexican truck outside of the... I'm like, hello, what's it called? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, how do I get there? I need to know.
I'll figure out the name and I'll let you guys know, but I do not know it right now.
Do you know if it's like... I'm trying to think, because I know they're kind of spread out. There's like 3 different trucks right in that little line. Is it closer to the entrance of the Sack, or is it closer to the back entrance?
It's closer to the back entrance.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's like the last one in that row.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna have to, if it's still there tonight, maybe I'll catch it.
Yes, you should. You definitely should.
Oh, it sounds really good, really good. Yeah, man. So. I still can't believe you've been at Temple for this being your 4th year now. Because I feel like I've known you for a while now. Like, I'm pretty sure we met when I first came to Temple, which was 3 years ago. So it's crazy to think that you're almost done.
I know, it is crazy. I think I might have even had you in your orientation group. I'm not sure.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it feels I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to feel about it because I still feel like I should be here for so long, but I'm also like ready to leave. You know
For
what I mean?
sure. Yeah. And there's so many opportunities out there that obviously you're going to do just fine.
Thank you.
Out in what is called the real world. As scary as that might be, you're ready. I know you are, just based on who you are and how you act. You're definitely ready. So
Thank you.
It's just so weird for me to think about because I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. But
I
yeah,
know. I think about like not being here and like seeing you guys like anymore. That's weird. That's so weird. Like I would see these people every day. How am I not going to see you every day? It's crazy.
Exactly. It's super weird. But no, the more I'm thinking about it, you definitely were my orientation leader for Boyer. That's crazy. I'm surprised you remembered that. Dang.
Yeah, I remember like a surprising amount of students from those orientations. I think because you're a junior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that would have been my first summer doing it. I think that like I remember a lot of those kids specifically.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
stuff.
I know you said you remembered Ben. I was like, oh God, I'm trying to remember if I remember any students.
You know what, Sarah?
I mean, they were on Zoom, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a little harder when it's
a little
virtual. Different. But you know, I try and every now and then try and be like, oh, I think I remember this person.
Yeah.
And then I realized they're an FMA major, and I was like, I didn't do those orientations. Never mind.
I actually don't know you at all. Sorry.
As a matter of fact, I've never met you before in my life. So with your 4 years at Temple so far, how many choirs have you been a part of? Because I know choir is a huge part of the music program, and you know, I know they offer so many different classes or different groups for the choir. I'm curious to know, how many of those choirs did you participate in?
That's a great question. So I don't know if they started it your year or the year after you, but when I was a freshman, anyone could be in any choir. So like freshmen didn't have to be in chorale or women's chorus. So I had like a rough audition. I didn't have like sight reading or anything in my high school. So, I was in chorale my freshman year. Sophomore year for the fall, I was in university singers. And then in the spring, I got into concert choir. And then I'd been in there since. And then along with that, I did the TTBB lab choir. And then I did the Everyone lab choir as well. So lots of singing, took up lots of time, but it's okay. I appreciate the experiences, though it was like exhausting. It like helped me be a better musician. 100%.
For sure. Yeah. Did you have a favorite piece that you performed with the choirs?
Did I have a favorite piece? We did. I think it was my first semester in concert choir. We did this piece. I believe it was something having to do with Martin Luther King. I don't remember it that well, but it was like my first experience like learning something really hard like that, and it really stuck with me. And it's a great piece. I'm gonna have to figure out what the name is because now I really want to listen to it. But,
for sure.
It was awesome. I just remember like when I finally like learned it, I felt so not cool, but I was like, whoa, I like really just learned this piece of music. You know?
That's
so cool.
I can't say I'm a great singer in terms of classically trained.
Yes, you are.
No, trust me, I'm really not.
Let's hear it right now. Right now, give us 16 bars.
You really don't. You know what's funny? I'm gonna be real with you guys. So my choir experiences, since I only had to take 2 semesters of it, so I took it my freshman year to get them out of the way. Just because I did choir in high school, but I didn't do it. Or I didn't join because I wanted to join. I was kind of forced to join because I was part of the drama club, and the drama club director was like, you need to be in the choir if you want to keep doing this. And I said no, and then she put my name on the list anyway.
Nice.
So I was forced to go for a grade. But I ended up like loving it in high school, and I'm actually still really good friends with our choir director from our high school. But when I got to college, I had no like what?
Oh, Ben. Are you okay?
No! Oh, no, did I freeze?
Yeah, you did
You
for
did.
a second.
Oh, no! tough scene. Oh, because you guys were still moving and talking. I could see you, and I was like, what's going on? They just keep saying, oh, as if I said something. And I was like, what did I say? Oh, no.
It's okay.
but but yeah, I remember getting into college and thinking, like, I didn't want to do choir. Like, I already did it 4 years in high school or 3 years in high school. And I purposely, like, well, when I first got there, I didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of was like, I'm pretty sure I'm a tenor. And they were like, yeah, we'll be the judge of that. And then they tested my range and they're like, yeah, you're a tenor. And I was like, okay. And so I remember when they were seating us, I don't know if I did this purposefully or if it was just on complete accident when they were assigning seats, but I got placed next to Kyle Ryan, if you know him, and
Yes.
he's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I was so lucky to be next to him because everything I did, I would be like just trying to listen to him because I knew he knew what he was doing. And even if I thought I knew what I was doing, I would listen to him and be like, nope, I'm not doing it right. But you know, every time I heard Kyle do it, I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to mimic what he does. And then I remember a couple times, who did I have at the time? Who's the choir director? I think it was Professor Dibble,
Yes.
maybe?
Yeah.
I think it was him to be like, tenors, you guys are doing great. And I just kind of went like, yes, yes, we are.
That is so funny. That is a great person to get sat next to, like, for your first, like, college choir experience.
Yeah, Kyle, if you're
Kyle.
listening to this, man, thank you for getting me through choir.
Shout out Kyle.
He doesn't even know he got me through choir, but now he does know. So
Yes.
there's that. But yeah, I was gonna say choir was draining, but I look back at it and I'm like, it was a lot of fun. when I
Yeah.
think of it. Like, you know,
Yeah. Definitely.
it took up a lot of time, but it was so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there are memories that I definitely will never forget from it, for sure. But you know, now I don't have to sing classically anymore, so that's good. That's good
There you
news.
go.
That's good news for me and the choir program, so they don't have
Oh
to
my
have me. Trust me, it's a good thing. So you've been a peer advisor for pretty much most of your Temple career, really.
Yeah.
You know, you've been a part of it for a really long time. Who was the one that interviewed you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I got interviewed by someone that you might know, Ben. Sarah, you wouldn't know them. Leslie Copans.
Yeah.
I
You
do
do know her?
I do. Yeah, she was actually my advisor my first semester, and
No
then
way.
no more. I
Wow.
had one meeting with her, and she was really nice. That's all I remember.
Yeah. So I got, and did you guys know Jordan at all? Jordan Greenwood?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't
Yeah, I
think I know the person.
think so.
She used to be our film advisor. So
Okay.
I got interviewed by Jordan and Leslie. So I hope they're doing well. Hey guys. But yeah, I remember being so nervous for that interview because like I didn't have a job my freshman year, and I like knew I would need to work because like I wanted to live in an apartment and I just wanted to make like the best of my college experience. So I really wanted this job, and I was so nervous to interview for it, but the interview was so easy. They were just basically like, are you a good person? Like, do you want to help students? And like, are you going to be like good at it? And I was like, yeah, I guess. And then that was pretty much it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good person.
Right.
That's the best. That's the best. Out of all these years, have you had a moment during your peer advising where it just sticks out where you're like, that's been the best?
That's a nice question. There have been a couple moments where I was like, wow, I like really like doing this job. I think one was probably the first summer when I was working, when I did like the first time I did an orientation and like really knew what I was doing, you know, that felt really good. Cause I mean, the first time I was like, I can maybe help you look for a class, but I'll have to look for it because I don't really know where to find it. But like after a couple, it was just like, you know, like the back of my hand, and it felt so easy and it felt really good just to like help students like figure out their classes. That's such a scary environment to be in. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember like sitting in that room, sitting in front of that computer, just being like, I have to pick classes for college right now, and I want them to be this day, and I want them to be this time, and it just doesn't work out like that. Like, that is scary and frustrating at times, but it feels so good to help those students. And then there was another time, I think it was like maybe last fall, where I had a student come in to the office and come to the back computer because they were like really late registering. You know, it was like almost winter break and they were registering for their spring classes. But, you know, I just like sat down and like figured out exactly what they wanted, and like just really being able to help them find not necessarily like the perfect schedule, but something that will really work for them, you know?
For sure.
And that's really rewarding.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to help students like that yet. I mean, I guess some are kinda just helping students, but like
our new workshops, they're fun.
Yeah, they're fun, and you know, it's a good time. So
how about you guys? What are your favorite moments?
Oh, we're being interviewed. Oh no!
Oh.
Wow!
Right back at you.
Oh shoot!
Flip the switch. Oh
Sarah,
my gosh.
Sarah, I think you got to go first. You got to let me sit on this for a
All
second.
right. Oof. Oof. Well, I'll talk about my orientation, like my freshman year orientation first. Like how you were saying, like that little room. I remember being so stressed out because I was the last one, because I'm like a perfectionist, and I was like, I need to know everything. Like, I'm trying to get this in. Oh my God, and where are all these classes? And I was the last one, and everyone was like, I'm done. When can we move on to like lunch or whatever? And I was like, ah. And my peer advisor was just so kind, and like she was like, I'll stay with you real quick. Your group can go, and we'll figure this out. So I remember that end of it. That's the biggest memory I have. So shout out to you guys, the OGs. But so far, I would say I just loved being put in like the breakout rooms on our Zoom orientations, because like the one-on-one with the students, and like I guess that's like as close as we could get to like actually like helping them. Like I just remember like it would be like a simple fix, like refresh your page, and they'd be like, thank you so much. I'm like, oh my God, I did nothing. You're welcome. But yeah, it's so nice to just like see the relief come over them, like because it's such a daunting process, like to be just out of high school and trying to figure this all out on your own. So
definitely,
I totally get it.
Oh man, I will say from my freshman orientation, I kind of had the mindset, and I guess I still kind of do when it comes to scheduling, of whatever happens, and I'll just roll with it. So I remember once I learned how to, I just scheduled and I was on my way. And I don't know, I just remember looking around and seeing other people really struggling, and I was like, oh no, that's not good. Which I guess is kind of like the origin story of why I became a peer advisor, because I guess it's more fun to be like, I can help you figure this out really quickly. Because I remember there were points where I really wanted to just be like, oh, I'll like go help this kid real quick that I don't really know. But I was like, well, I'll let the peer advisors do that. Like, they obviously know what they're doing, and I'll just kind of sit here and wait. And so I guess that's kind of why I'm here now, which is funny enough. But favorite memory so far of working here, probably there was one orientation that happened this summer for Boyer where there were like 2 or 3 kids that I went to high school with that were coming into college, and we were going around, and I'm pretty sure it was like 2 of them in a row explaining like who they were, what their major is, and where they're from, and then another student, and then the third kid that I went to high school with that did their name. So you would just hear, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm in the music tech program, and I went to Garnet Valley High School. Hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm in music tech, and I went to Garnet Valley as well. Hi, my name's so-and-so, I went to like Sun Valley. And then it's, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I went to Garnet Valley. It was just a bunch of people that I knew, and Leanna and Brad looked at me like, why are they all here? And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
That probably feels cool, though, like, to have people, you know. I mean, I had a couple people that I know, like, from my high school who came here, and that is always, like, a cool feeling. Because, like, it feels like you're like a mentor to them.
For sure. Yeah.
I
And I was
know.
gonna say,
In the last workshop that I did, actually, one of the students who was in it was like, so I was the soprano section leader in high school, and she's like the person who I passed it down to. So I was like, oh
Oh.
my God, hello.
That's so sweet.
It was crazy. I was like, hi Jess, how are you doing? I had to like interrupt the whole meeting. Like Leanna was like, any questions? I was like, I don't have a question, but hi.
yeah, I'll never forget being in that Zoom. Like, they logged on. I didn't say anything. I just knew they were there, and they knew I was there too. Like, I don't think they knew I was going to be a peer advisor.
Right.
But I knew they were going to be there because I saw their names. And it wasn't until, I think it was Leanna saying something like, oh, wow, so you guys must know our peer advisor, Ben. And then the one was like, hi, Ben. And I was like, hi, guys. How you doing?
My God.
And I remember Brad joked around saying, man, we should get you on commission if you're going to be bringing in these kids. And I was like,
Right.
hey, whatever keeps the money rolling, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I would say that's probably been my favorite so far.
Nice.
It was just super funny about how it all worked out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to get into your music.
Okay.
So you just released a new album, not too
Yes,
long
I did.
ago, called
I did.
Charlie. Could you talk about that for a little bit?
I would love to. Yeah. So Charlie is an album that I put out September 25th. It's 9 songs. I love it so much. I had put out like a project the year before, and it was just basically like me figuring out like how to work GarageBand at that point. And it was funny. I thought it was like funny. It felt like me, very much my personality. But Charlie was like something different. I had like started writing a couple of these songs like last year, and then when like in March, when like everything hit the fan, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like really like write some music just to like help me like pass time and like sort of keep my head up. So I originally had like 5 songs, I think, and I was gonna make it an EP. And then by the time it was like getting closer to the date I wanted to put it out, it just wasn't where I thought it could be like at all. It felt really sloppy and it didn't feel like fleshed out. So I like stripped it back, took a lot of time, reworked a lot of things. I added like 4 more songs. I worked with a couple different people, and it really turned out to be something like I'm really proud of. I'm like so glad that I waited. It's one of those things like, if I wouldn't have waited, I would have been maybe a little bit embarrassed of it. But I'm so glad that I waited. Like, I love the way everything turned out. Seriously.
For sure, yeah. I have been fortunate enough to actually take a listen to the album. I can say for sure. Well, first of all, I don't listen to, or I listen to a lot of like hard rock, heavy metal.
Okay.
And I very rarely step out of my boundaries to listen to other things, but I do for the most part. Like I don't just listen to it. Like I'll listen to like R&B, I'll listen to jazz, I'll listen to punk rock. Like I pretty much run the gamut, pretty much besides country at this point. And I can say full-heartedly that Charlie was super interesting from front to back. It was It was so cool. Like it felt like an experience. Like it didn't. The one thing about it was I don't think it was a concept album, but it felt like there was a story being told.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think. Sorry, I feel like that's kind of what I was going for. Like, I didn't write it with like the idea that like this is gonna tell like a fully fleshed out story, but it ended up being like sort of like taking you on this like roller coaster of like emotions, kind of on like, this is how I was feeling this day, and this is how I was feeling this day. It really like, I mean, it doesn't have like an official subtitle, but like on the cover art, it says like Charlie, an album made in quarantine. And like, I think it really feels like that. It really feels like this is how it felt at this point in time, and this is how it felt here, and all this stuff. Yeah.
And honestly,
special in that way.
I definitely picked up on that. There were certain songs where I was just like, he probably wrote this during this time.
Yeah.
Of quarantine. And it just kind of was like, that's really cool how you were able to actually like fully flesh that out.
Thank you.
I mean, I could tell you right off the bat, some of my favorite tracks have been 2 Points, Everything Is Fine, which is the closer, I think. And then I like Time's Up. I thought that I like Time's Up because I knew Nick was on it. And I love Nick's work, so I was like, I know I'm gonna love this, and that ended up being a high point of the album for me, where I was like, this is really cool.
Oh,
it was just
thank you.
Really fascinating. So, did you produce every song yourself?
I produced every song except for Time's Up myself. Yeah.
Okay,
so
got it.
Time's Up, like, I had a small idea for it. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, and I sent it to Nick in like April, and he sent me something back like the next day, and then we didn't touch it until like August.
Wow.
And then I like went to his place, and we like just sort of made it work. And I like got home that night and was feeling really inspired at like 2 a.m. and like recorded the vocals on it, and it just worked out. It just really made sense.
It's the best time to be inspired.
Yeah.
It really is. That's when the creativity comes out. As tired as you can be, it's just like, nope, I gotta do it right now.
For
I
sure.
totally get that. Yeah, it was such a fun record to listen to.
Thank you.
It
I really
was.
appreciate it.
And I hope nothing but the best,
Thank you.
for everything that comes out of it. Other notable songs that I really enjoyed from you that actually aren't on the album are Rashida Jones,
Yes.
which is a great song. I remember listening to that and being
I love her.
Me too. That's why I wrote it.
It's funny. I played it for my friend, and they're like, "Man, this sounds like it could be like John Mayer," and I was like, "No, that's not who it is at all." But I totally see where you're coming from, and it's a great song. There's so many little references about Rashida Jones that like.
Yeah.
Some I wouldn't pick up. I'd just be like, oh, that's probably a reference to her. And other ones I'd be like, that's definitely a reference to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you. I love that song. I had been like, yeah, I don't know what inspired me to write that. I think I just finished watching Parks and Rec for like the 3rd time. That's like one of my favorite shows ever.
Right.
Yes!
It's so good. And I was just like, wow, I really love Rashida Jones, like, honestly. Oh, I just watched the documentary that she like produced about her dad. So I was like, wow, she does everything. And I was like really impressed by her. So I was like, why not just write this little ditty about her? And then it turned into a full song.
I hope one day she listens to it.
That's all I want.
That would make everything. That would make the world at peace, I think.
I know. That's literally what I hope.
All the stars would align at that point. That's it, Sarah.
Yes.
Get it in the books. We got to get Rashida Jones on the show so we can play her.
All right.
Rashida
I got
Jones.
you. I'm emailing her right now.
There
Thank
we
you,
go.
guys.
That's what we're here for. We're here to make dreams come true, right? Or we're just here to fix your schedules, one or the other.
Right.
I can't figure out which one yet, but
depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day, exactly. After listening to a lot of your music, I can tell that you're very influenced by a lot of different genres. Like, I can't really pinpoint what genre to put you in because there's so many influences that I can hear. Yeah. Funny enough that my friend said John Mayer, because when I started listening to the album a couple weeks ago, I remember thinking like, God, this is like and I think it was mainly the vocals that made me think that. I was like, this could be something like 100 Gex do.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if like maybe that was an inspiration, but I was like, that's really cool. And so but yeah, then there was the John Mayer thing. There was, there was another artist I actually just thought of before this, and I was like, that's it. But I can't remember who it is now. Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, if I think, yes, exactly. Well, I'll keep thinking about it, but during that time while I think, what genre would you say is your favorite? What do you think the genre that most influences you is?
That is the question. I try to think about like, even like with putting out this album, I was like, what genre do I list it as? Because like I have to list it as something, I just ended up going with hip hop and rap because I figured there was a couple raps in it, so why not? But
there you go.
I am really influenced by I mean, rap, obviously. Tyler, the Creator, is like my favorite. I mean, if you can't tell by this wall, it's like
I
all
can
his
tell.
stuff.
Absolutely.
He's like my favorite artist. He is just very creative and like dives into a couple different genres, which is like very inspiring. Another one of my favorite artists is Pharrell, because he is just so versatile, and he's like been on the scene for like longer than people expect.
Oh yeah.
Like much longer than people think, and he's done so much for music. So there's that, and then definitely, like you said, 100 gecs, like that hyper pop definitely plays in. I mean, I think there's a good amount of these songs that like play off of that hyper pop, like exaggerated type of idea.
For sure.
I know I was reading something recently that was like hyperpop is essentially pop, but like exaggerating every part of pop to make it like a new thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've definitely taken a lot of that, and also some like R&B. I think I've taken a lot of like chord progressions and stuff like that from like R&B or like some smooth jazz stuff like that, and turned it around to make it fit into hyperpop or like rap and electronic stuff like that. And I think that definitely makes for a really unique sound.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny that you brought up Pharrell and how long he's been around, because right when you said that, it just brought me back to when he released Happy. And yeah. I remember thinking like, who's this dude?
Yeah.
Pharrell? And then a couple years later, I'm listening to Snoop Dogg, and all of a sudden, Pharrell comes in on Drop It Like It's Hot, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
I was like, that blew my mind when I
just recently I had someone be like, wait, was Pharrell always on this song? I was like, yes.
Yeah,
like the entire time.
It's so funny. He was also he was also on like a performance in the early 2000s with another artist, but he was like a backing like artist or backing singer or something like that. And I remember seeing it and being like, what? Like he's been around for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think Pharrell is so like interesting to me because, you know, he like made a name for himself, not really as himself. Like he sort of threw himself into the music career with his partner when they put out music as the Neptunes. Chad Hugo. So it was like him and Chad Hugo as the Neptunes. And then it was him, Chad Hugo, and their other friend, whose name I can't remember, sorry. And they were NERD. And like they have their own music, the Neptunes have their own music, and like Pharrell has his own music. And within that, he produced for so many people. It's insane. Yeah. The guy's like ridiculous. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's definitely super versatile.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I always knew him for was Happy, and I'm not gonna lie, I hated that song. It was just one of those songs where I was just like,
no! Oh my god. What is it from? Isn't it like Despicable Me?
Yeah, Despicable Me.
It was just one of those songs that I just did not like at all. And then I went through, once I figured out he was present in like 2004 or whatever, then I was like, now I gotta know more about him. And that's when I was like, okay, so he's been around for a while. He's super versatile. He's obviously been doing a lot. Like, mad respect for that.
Yeah.
That's really, like, I will never not respect a human being that is able to do so much. You know, even if you're known for something like Happy.
I guess you could say he wears many hats. I'm sorry.
You could say that.
you really cool. Sarah, we're going to have to talk after this episode, okay?
I'm sorry. I had to do it.
No more jokes.
Like, he's so versatile. He's so versatile. I'm like, you're putting it out there. You're putting it out there.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Anyway, besides a favorite music genre, do you have a favorite instrument that you tend to go to when writing a song?
Good question. Since I was a percussionist, like for most of my like musical career, and like I started playing drums like in second grade, so I'm always doing drums like first. Even if it doesn't make sense to do drums first, I always end up doing the drums first.
There we go. Yeah, for sure. No, I get that.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
So, wait, you've been playing drums since you were 2? Or I'm not 2. Since you were in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Since you were
Wow.
in 2nd grade.
I would be a lot better if I was playing since I was 2.
You're right. So what did you learn? Like when you first started playing, like what were the first couple songs that you like
Yeah.
learned? Were you self-taught? Were you taught by a teacher?
So I think I started showing interest in drumming like just at home, just like patting on a lot of things and just tapping on a lot of stuff, making noise. So my parents got me to take lessons at a drum store in the city called Drums Etc. I don't remember my teacher's name, but sorry, bro. He he taught me like, I don't know, just like standard things, just like on a snare drum. So like that was a lot of like learning to read music and a lot of stuff like that. Like that's where I learned most of that. And then I remember the first song that I wanted to play because I didn't know anything about drumming. Like, I remember the first song I wanted to play was the theme song to the Naked Brothers Band. I don't know if you guys know that show.
Yes!
Oh my god!
Yes. That's the first song I ever wanted to learn. So like that was the first song I learned on like drum set. It was cool. And my teacher was like, "This is like the easiest song ever." And I was like, "Dude, I want to learn it so bad."
He doesn't understand. He doesn't
Exactly.
understand what
He didn't
musical
get it.
genius, you know?
Exactly.
The musical genius from the Naked Brothers Band, from Alex and Nate Wolf.
Exactly.
Gosh.
Amen.
Oh my God.
Amen.
I watched that show religiously when it was
It's
on.
so
Oh my
good.
gosh.
It holds up. It was like the first mockumentary.
It really was.
So good.
It was.
I was going to
So
say,
good.
it started with the Naked Brothers Band, and then it went into a Big Time Rush, and
Yes.
it
yes.
slaps. It really does.
Man.
I went back not too long ago to watch a couple episodes from both shows, and I was
Yeah.
just like, man, this is really bringing me back.
Yeah,
This is
for
crazy.
sure.
And just to think
So
that I'm,
good.
that I'm older than most of the characters are in that time, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's weird. It's so weird. But yeah, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I just had it. It was just, okay, so yeah, no, it was something about the Naked Brothers Band, but I guess it'd be better to ask: are you a Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network person or Disney?
Oh, I am a big Cartoon Network person.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I
Now-
love Nickelodeon. Like I think Nickelodeon did great like I don't know what they're called, like sitcoms, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the whole like Drake and Josh iCarly universe is like
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
But I don't think most of their cartoons slapped as hard as Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the show,
Yeah.
but I totally get it because Courage the Cowardly Dog was great.
Mhm.
Rugrats was on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of cartoons.
See, I'm a Jimmy Neutron gal, so I gotta
So
go with
Nickelodeon all the way.
Jimmy Neutron was good. See, like Nickelodeon had like some good shows, like Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob. Obviously, like those are great. But when I think of Cartoon Network, I think of like Powerpuff Girls was so good. Ed, Ed and Eddie was so good. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Adventure Time, regular show. Like the list goes on.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I binged watched a regular show.
As you
Like-
should.
Oh
Like
my
crazy.
god, I remember. That's like all my little brothers. That's all they used to watch. So like, and they're like close in age. So like, I'd come home from school and they'd be watching. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are you watching? And then I get sucked into it. I'm like, okay, I kind of like this show. Let's watch another one.
Right.
Trust me, it's an ongoing joke in the place I'm living in Philly right now because all of my roommates, we all watched a regular show.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing occurrence just hearing like someone doing something like cooking themselves dinner or taking a shower, and all you hear is not setting up the chairs next time. Not setting up the
Yeah.
chairs next time.
That's such a good episode.
I know. What the H, dude?
Yeah.
It's so good. You know what? Ooh, I might have. I don't know, because I was such a Nickelodeon kid, but as I've gotten older, I vibe way more with the Cartoon Network shows. So
Yeah.
that's
They
a
have
good
so
one.
much like adult humor in them. Like you,
Yeah.
They really do.
like I watched them as kids, and then I go back and I'm like,
I don't
I
know
was
how they
watching-
got away with most of that stuff.
I
It
don't
really doesn't
know,
make
but-
sense.
They really
I
did.
love those
though.
shows. It's so good.
It really is good. But to move on real quick, we are doing a podcast right now, and we hear that you do your own podcast.
Yes, I have done my own podcast. So I don't even remember when I started recording it, but I recorded like 10 episodes. I've only put out like 3 because I was doing all my editing in the tech because it it takes up a lot of space on my computer to edit.
For sure.
So I would just edit it on the tech, put it on a flash drive, upload it later. But since I've been stripped of my tech privileges, I've like stopped editing them completely, which like kind of sucks. I wish I could put them out, but I just don't feel ready yet. So they're all sitting on a flash drive. But yes, the podcast is called There's Music in My Mind Space Hole with Zuhri Wayman.
Wow. That
Yes.
is like
I love it.
Thank
that's
you.
such a like outer space kind of like black hole of a title that now I got to know what you talk about. So what do you talk about on the show?
I wanted to make it like I just talk about what I know those people like and then what I like about them. So like I had a friend, Oliver Snook. I don't know if you guys know him, but
I do know Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver, he was like the first episode that I did. So we just like talked for a long time. Talked for about an hour about just like life and like things going on. And he's like a film major, so we talked about him doing film a couple times and like some music video stuff. And the episode is titled Oliver Snook and the Thai chicken salad because he was eating a Thai chicken salad from Salad Works. And there's a couple times you can like hear him chewing it. It's just so funny. Yeah, but I love doing that podcast. It was so cool. I have so many episodes that I should put out. But yeah, I was just talking to people, like just having conversations like we are now, I guess, just a little less structured.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Have you had any, like, do you usually have a guest on for every
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah, I haven't had any that are like solo. I mean, like I did like a trailer, I guess, which is like 2 minutes of me just like talking about what the podcast would be about. But besides that, I've always had a guest.
For sure. And are they up like all different platforms like Spotify, iTunes?
Yeah, they are on everywhere you can get podcasts, I believe. I haven't checked that to make sure, but I know that they're for sure on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
There you go. Yeah, so anyone listening, go check it out. It is a great time, it sounds like. I'm definitely going to check it out after this because now
Awesome.
just the title of the podcast makes me want to go listen to all of it. Seriously.
Thank you.
So anyone listening, definitely go check it out. It sounds like a great time.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that you've changed majors quite a bit, actually. How has that process been like?
Yeah, it was really interesting for me. I changed majors really late in the spring of my junior year. So last semester. It was a hard decision to make for me because I went into school like really thinking music ed is for me. I know I want to teach. I want to be like this kind of teacher. I want to teach in this type of area and all that stuff. And as like I proceeded with my college career, I was really starting to get like stressed out about it. And I was like, wow, I am like really exhausted by all this stuff I'm doing. And I'm not enjoying my classes and all this stuff. And I had to like really sit down with myself and think, what is it like about this that's making me like have such a hard time? And it turned out that like I didn't really see myself like teaching. I really thought I did, but it just wasn't the path for me. I mean, I would love to teach like maybe in the future at a different time, but right now I know that that's not necessarily what I want to do. So when I decided that I was going to change my major, I knew that it still had to be in music because I don't know if there's anything else that I'd even want to pursue. So I knew I wanted to keep it in music, but I also knew that I wanted to get out of school as soon as I could. So I picked the major that had like the most similar requirements and the least like new requirements, and that was the music studies major.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
it just happened to work out for me pretty
And
much.
how did your advisors help you out? Like, were they a big help? Did you just kind of go to them just to be like, hey, I'm changing my major, and then you did it a lot yourself? Explain that process.
I had conversations with Brad when I first like started thinking about it. I went in his office and I was just sort of like, hey, I'm like not enjoying school right now. And he was like, well, let's like talk about it. And that's sort of when I figured out like, oh, I don't think music ed is what I want to do anymore. So it really took like sitting down and having that conversation with someone who like knows the system and like knows how all this stuff works to help me figure out like, maybe this isn't a path I want to pursue right now. So Brad was a really big help in that. I'm sure that will make him feel very good. But yeah, it was just awesome to have someone that I could talk to about it who understood and like wasn't going to judge me for it and really just took it seriously and like wants the best for me, you know?
For sure. Yeah. Well, that's why the advisors are here at Temple. So anyone listening to this, shout out to the advisors. If you need to go to your advisor, do so. Do not be afraid. They are here to help you. They are getting paid to help you. Like, they're there for you, and they have lots of great advice. They got lots of great stories to tell, and they're just overall great people. So, so I can full-heartedly say some of the best advisors at Temple, for sure.
I think a lot of people forget that they want to help you.
Exactly.
Like they genuinely want the best for you, and they will, I mean, they're not going to like break their neck for you, but they'll do like pretty much whatever they can to get you figured out and like help you succeed.
For sure. And you couldn't have said it any better, I think. That's exactly what they're here to do.
Yeah.
You know? So for sure. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's a good thing for a lot of students to know, especially if they're thinking about changing majors, you know? Because it is, I think you do have to look at yourself. You know, you have to take a good hard look at yourself and just be like, do I really want to do this, you know? And it sounds like you made the right decision. It sounds like that now you're doing something that you love.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, like I said before, you're going to do great things and you're on a great path. So
Thank you. And there's nothing wrong with you for wanting to change your major. There's nothing wrong with you. You just are figuring it out. That's what college is for. Just figuring it out.
Well said. Yeah, save it for your like master's or graduate degree to figure out what you really want to do, you know?
Exactly.
I always came into college thinking like whatever my major is that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's like, no, it's you go do your undergrad and you do something that you either might like or you might think will get you a job, and then your graduate is like, that's what I want to do. You know? It's like such a super niche thing. So, you know, for anybody that is really second guessing their major, that's okay. I read a statistic one time that was like 90%, or no, not 90. It was like 80% of students change their majors at least twice.
Yeah.
I thought it was insane. You know, I didn't think that was even possible. But yeah, so it's not an uncommon thought whatsoever.
Definitely not.
Yeah. But let's go on to something that I really want to talk about.
Okay.
I don't collect vinyls, but I love vinyl. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a collector in terms of, like, I, you know, do a lot of research in terms of, like, oh, I want to get, like, a Canadian copy of this record as well as, like, a Japanese copy of that same record. But more so of I look for albums that I just really enjoy to listen to. And I got to know, out of all the albums that you have, is there one that's, like, a prized possession, or one that like every time you look at your collection you're just like, that's absolutely my favorite one?
Yes, there is. So I have a relatively small collection. I like just started getting them maybe a year ago, and I haven't been like you said, I'm not like going out and like looking for super hyper specific things, but like if an artist puts out an album that I end up loving, I'm like gonna buy it on vinyl. The only problem is I don't have a record player, but I have like my dad has one, so like if I have one I really want to play, I take it home and like play it. But I have a limited edition Igor by Tyler the Creator on a pink vinyl with like his face on it.
Whoa.
And it is like, I love it so much. And it's like one of the only vinyls I've like actually played and like listened to the whole way through. And I just love it. It's such a different experience.
I was going to say, you don't have a record player, dude. Just come over to my house.
I got you, Ben.
There you go. My roommate is, it's funny. My one roommate and I, we really work well together. Well, first of all, we went to high school together. So
okay.
we've just been best friends since high school. But we work well together because I'm more of, I guess I'm more of like, I don't know, what's the word? I'm not consumer. A lot of the audio things that I like to buy are very, I don't want to say business oriented, but very much like workflow. It's more about how to work with audio, where he's very consumer, you know, where he loves to buy, you know, surround sound systems and record players. So he has a great setup right now where, you know, he has a record player going into a receiver, but that receiver can play 5.1 surround for DVDs or music files if he has them. And so,
wow,
yeah, man, come on over. we got lots of music playing almost at all times.
All right, I'll take you up on that.
All right, cool. I will be expecting a call. But yeah, I totally understand the prized possession thing, because I personally, for me, I go through a couple different ones every now and then. Like currently, I'm like drooling over Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory album, because they just had their 20th anniversary of that album, and they put out like a deluxe box set, and I was fortunate enough to get one before they sold out, and it's so cool. They have 3 vinyls in there, one of their original album and then one of a remix album, and then they have one of an EP that they put out before they were even called Hybrid Theory. Wow. It was the first time that they put it out on vinyl, so that's like my current prized possession.
That is awesome.
It's super cool, and I'm super happy with it. But then there's other ones where like I bought them when I was like in 6th grade, and and like original pressings of certain things when I was in 6th grade, and now like, God, how old was I in 6th grade? So was that like 8 years ago, 9 years ago? Nine? I think like 9
11?
Years ago. 11.
Like 11 or 12?
I think I was
10 or 11? I don't know.
11, yeah, 11, 12. I was a kid. I'll put it like that. I went. There was I don't know if you have ever been to Ocean City, New Jersey. On the boardwalk, but they used to have a record shop on the boardwalk.
Stop it! Okay, continue the story, and then I'll tell you.
Oh no. Yeah, there used to be this little record shop, like right next, I think it was right next to the surf shop or something like that, or pretty close. I vividly remember it was definitely in between 9th and 11th Street at some point, and there was this record shop, but it was more like a clothing shop in the front, record store in the back, and I would always go because my friend used to go to the beach a lot, and he'd always invite me, and I would always be like, we have to go to this record store. And I remember one of the first records I got was actually another Linkin Park record, and it was like a year after they released an album, so it was still an original pressing, and I was like, oh cool, like I'm gonna buy this. It was like $20, and now they're going on sale for like 150 used. So I feel pretty fortunate to have an original copy, just to be like, wow, I'm sitting on just like a Leprechaun's pot of gold right now. And it's like, it's great. It's like funny because it's a record that I listen to often, but I don't ever think of like the actual value of it now. So I don't know. I'm getting more into vinyl collecting, but it's actually been a lot more CDs than vinyl for me. But I'm definitely leaning a lot more towards vinyl now, just because it's fun to try and get your favorite albums, and to be able to listen to them on vinyl is a whole different experience.
Yeah,
than
definitely.
Digital. So yeah, I totally get it. But now, Sarah, I gotta know what.
Yeah, Sarah.
Oh my God. So like I've always thought vinyls were cool and everything, but I've never like collected them. But I went to Ocean City, New Jersey in like October with my mom, and we went into that record store, and they were having this sale of like really old, like I don't even think it works, but wait, let me grab it really.
Oh boy, I gotta know.
I can't wait to see what this is.
I really can't wait either.
it's really nerdy. It's not even but like they were having the sale of like really old like decrepit vinyls for like $1. And My Fair Lady is like my favorite musical of all time. And so I found an original Julie Andrews, Rex Harrison from the Broadway. It's not even the movie with Audrey Hepburn. It's from the Broadway show. So
That is awesome.
I love
Whoa.
it. I love it so much.
For $1?
So I'm very happy about it. For $1. That's why I'm like, I doubt that it works, but like,
That's such a cool find, though.
That is.
I
yeah.
know.
And see, that's what I love about record shopping. Like, there's definitely gems, no matter when or where you go, they will have a gem that you're looking for. I feel like no matter what, you just got to look in the right aisle, you know.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah,
now I'm on the hunt. Now I'm on the hunt for all my favorite shows. I'm like, it will happen.
My dad has a copy of Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, like one of the original copies. And then my mom, from her mom, has a copy of The Sound of Music. Like, and just like seeing those in real life is like, what? Yeah, exactly.
I have it on cassette tape. I have it, The Sound of Music on cassette, and then the My Fair Lady. So that's all I got.
It is really neat to find original like vinyls like that, or just original pressings of anything. My dad's a huge Beatles fan, and he has so many of their records, so many like different promotional things that they did for radios and just side EPs that they released for like specific country audiences, and it is a lot of fun. Like once he kind of like showed his collection to me, I was like, oh man, now I kind of want to do that.
Yeah,
so,
it is so cool.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. And I've picked up a fair amount of records in the past couple years just because of like, it was just one of those things where I was like, I really want to collect records right now. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I think now it's time to move on to our game.
A game?
We got a game.
All right, I'm ready.
So it's a pretty easy game. The rules are simple. You just got to pick one thing.
Okay.
So the game is This or That Temple Edition. Kind of.
Okay.
Half Temple, half just in general. So we give you two things to pick between. And you have to just pick one thing. If you want to, add a reasoning to your answer, you can, but there's a time limit of 1 minute.
Okay.
You have to answer a lot of them as quickly as possible. It seems easy on surface level, but some of these are a bit hard. So we've had people struggle hard with some of them. So I'm going to pull up a timer, and then we're going to have Sarah read off the different this or that's.
Okay. Am I doing them all within a minute?
All of them within a minute.
Okay.
All right. I just pulled up my calculator. That's not the right thing.
It's okay. You can use that. Work in my advantage.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd press 1, press equals, and I'd be like, go. Why has nothing changed? All right. 1 minute on the clock. We have By the Seaside as our timer ending, which is a great tune. I will put it up to the microphone if you've never heard By the Seaside.
We are sponsored by that Apple sound.
Yes, specifically that Apple sound. So, all right. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Starting in 3, 2.
Saxby's or Richie's?
Saxby's.
Wait, I don't. Charles or Paley?
Paley.
Maxie's or Philly style?
Philly style.
J or H?
H all the way.
Boyer or TFMA?
Boyer. Ugh.
Movie or book?
Movie or book? Movie.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Candy or chips?
Candy.
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Writing or listening to music?
Listening.
The Office or Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec.
Wow.
We got through all of
Got
them.
through
Yes,
all of them
yes.
with literally 15 seconds left. Wow.
Play by the
Oh my
seaside.
Like, now we just got here. I just got to play it because it happened.
Oh my gosh.
Such a good one. Such a
It's
good
such
one.
a good one. Wow. You are the.
I think you're the fastest one yet.
Oh,
You're
thank
definitely
you.
the fastest one. Now you
You
hold
gotta
a
write
record.
more questions. Oh my gosh.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
I looked at our list and I was like, oh, this is a pretty long one. I think it's like 13 questions or something like that. So I was like, oh, I don't. We haven't really had many people complete it. I'll say it like that. I think there was
Wow.
one or two other people to complete it, but it was usually with 5 seconds left. So you really just on the dot. You just.
Thank you. Thank you.
It shows you have your preferences, and I like it. I
Thank
like
you.
it a lot. Well, Zuhri, I've had such a fun time interviewing you. You've been such a cool guest, and I'm really happy to have gotten you a little bit better now. Everyone go check out his new album, Charlie. It is out
Thank
on
you.
all streaming platforms. It is such a great album. It's super fun, energetic, and there's a lot of everything for anyone. So
Yeah.
definitely go check that out, as well as his podcast, which you can also find on Apple Podcast and Spotify as well. Zuhri, thank you so much for being on, man.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was so good to talk to you guys.
Absolutely. And like always, I would like to thank Sarah for being the backbone of this podcast. Without her, this podcast would not be a thing at all. So thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you guys. It's been so fun.
All right. Well, if you guys would like to stay updated with anything CPCA related, go ahead and follow us on our socials, which is CPCA_advising. That's right, at CPCA_advising. You'll get all the updates happening within the advising office, happening with the podcast, basically anything happening on Temple's campus that relates to Boyer or TFMA. You can follow us and you can find information right there. But like always, my name is Ben. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next Friday.